It's the Off-Grid Prep Family Podcast.
Hi, it's episode 31 of the Off-Grid Prep Family Podcast.
It is.
That's crazy. Okay, today we're talking about our experiences with floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis, tornadoes, winter storms, ice storms. It sounds like we have bad luck, or maybe we just make these things happen.
We just do a lot of stuff.
We bring the crazy.
No,
and
we do a lot of stuff. We talked about this years ago.
Yeah.
We realized one day that we just did more things.
And sometimes that means you have more negative experiences. It also means you have a ton more positive
Oh,
experiences.
100%. Yeah, it just there's just more. We have more children. We have more
life
experiences. There's just more, and that's
more mistakes.
Both. Yep,
more
more
wins.
mistakes, more wins.
Yeah.
For instance, I would say that we've been in more natural disasters.
Yeah, we win.
Than anybody we know or have.
If you've been in more, please comment on Instagram because I'd like to hear from you. We'll probably be friends.
Where we grew up was we were in Tornado Alley. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of people out there now, especially this time. Well, I think tornado season is now ebbing.
Yeah.
Generally, I think.
Yeah, it was usually July, but there's still some lingering around.
But we grew up in that Tornado Alley. Mm-hmm. And there were tornadoes.
All the time.
The sky just funnels and it's majestic.
It turns amazing colors.
Yeah, there's a really interesting energy to it.
Your dad goes outside while the rest of you huddle under the stairs.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, just growing up near that, maybe we're more prone to disasters wherever we go. I don't know.
Bringing energy to it? I don't know. I don't want to get all metaphysical about disasters, but
we've been through a lot.
Yes.
And a lot of bad snowstorms.
Yeah.
Right? And
the ones that take your power out for weeks, at least a week.
Weeks. Yeah. Everywhere we've lived, there's been a huge power outage.
Yeah. And where we live now, there's at least usually 1 or 2 storms at late winter usually.
Yeah.
Where we get snowed in on our driveway for 2 or 3 weeks. We're not getting out.
So
of course we don't lose power anymore because we are the power company.
Yeah.
But you still get stuck.
And that's important. I think that's what our own life experience. I'm sure a lot of people listening have that same those collections of experiences. And we learn to plan.
Yeah. Just be ready because when you're not.
Yeah.
You suffer for it.
And
when you have kids, it's miserable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We notice that when you do plan, the disasters seem to come less.
Yeah. Or they just don't bother you, so it doesn't
matter. Or they don't, or it's not as bothersome.
It's almost like, oh, cool, we get to use this fun gear. How exciting.
I would say our first earthquake was in Costa Rica.
Yeah, our first noticeable
earthquake.
Life-changing earthquake.
We might have had those when we were kids. Yeah. The funny thing about an earthquake is you don't really notice it. It's almost like
it takes so long for your body to register what's happening. It's always like you're in a dream. Yeah. Is this house shaking?
Yeah.
Are things falling over?
At least with small earthquakes. Yeah. I've never been in one of those car jumping earthquakes.
No, we've just been in the house shakes and all your stuff falls off.
Yeah.
You have to watch for the tsunami. We have to take a quick break to thank our first sponsor, which is us. 1 Year of Food by the Off-Grid Prep Family.
It's you. I had nothing to do with this.
Available
this is all
on
you.
Amazon.
It's beautiful.
This is our extreme 1 year of food storage recipe book and meal plan for feeding your large family or your mutual assistance group for 1 full year. Mm-hmm. And it even has sections in the back for how to grow that food, gardens, livestock, canning, storage, how to do it all. It is $15.99 today on Amazon, $0 on the Kindle edition if you want to take a peek, but kind of the way it's laid out with all the inventory sheets and things, you'll probably want the hard copy.
But you can't preview it on the Kindle Unlimited.
And then you also have a second set of the recipes, which is handy. And you can print it yourself at our store, offgridprepfamily.com. Click on the store button. There's a do-it-yourself print button there. If you'd rather download it, it's $8, but then you have to print it. So There you go.
It's a lot of ink.
You could print it at work for free, maybe. I don't know.
Right, I forget people work.
I know, right?
That's weird.
1 year food. Look for it on Instagram. If you can't find it on Amazon, just check out our Instagram page. It's linked over there. So, earthquakes. We've had a few earthquakes.
I'm going to step back a moment here and talk about our first natural disaster.
Okay.
Being forced into employment far too early. No. I really think that a lot of
teenagers, you mean? Well, then that's a
How
whole
old-
different show.
Yeah, but this is talking about natural
Whole
disaster.
different show. But let's just talk about earthquakes. We've been
Okay.
through two significant earthquakes, or three. But for some reason, we always live near oceans. I guess that's where earthquakes happen. It's not that Ring of Fire.
No, so the earthquake in Costa Rica was way up in the mountains.
Yeah,
you
but
couldn't
you're
get a lot higher
living
than
on
that.
the Ring of Fire, and the earthquake was under the ocean.
Okay.
But we were high enough up that we didn't have to think about tsunamis. And there was a big tsunami in Yako, or like it was a little farther away. It didn't affect us.
Yeah, I think what made it so poignant for me was when the earthquake happened. You remember how people, like the people who actually lived there, were like really discombobulated?
Yeah.
Like they were like, this wasn't normal
It's
to them?
like when you're somewhere comfortable, you're not as like on
Guard, yeah. I mean, there were snakes and like spider monkeys and banana spiders and stuff. But,
Yeah.
like, it was weird.
Yeah,
it was
they were
weird how
very confused.
they were very confused.
Yeah.
They were so
And we were
experienced.
like, yeah, man, that was an earthquake. As your treehouse is swinging in the wind.
Swaying in the wind.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our second earthquake was
Vancouver
West Coast.
Island.
Yeah, Vancouver Island.
And the third.
And the
Different.
third.
Vancouver
They
Island.
were different places in Vancouver
Yeah.
Island. Both earthquakes. Yeah, that's right.
The important thing about an earthquake is not dying from the earthquake. But beyond that, the weird stuff that happens, like as far as like maybe it'll fracture like your gas line or your propane line or your electrical. You need to know where all the shutoffs are right away. You probably need your go bag, and if you don't have it, it's too late to grab it.
Yeah.
And you need to get out of that house until you know how bad it is.
What I found was the weirdest thing about an earthquake was the discontinuity or like the way people just like stop and like reset.
Yeah, they go like stand in the street and like look around like what's everyone else
Like
doing?
everybody's just in shock.
And so
Even from a mild event, people were just staring into the
especially,
sky.
well, why does it always happen at night? Oh, okay, it doesn't always happen at night. But
Costa
it
Rica
often
was
happens.
day, but
Yeah.
the other two were night.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, and the third, we call it the third earthquake. It actually took place many times over months.
Right, it was many small
And the
earthquakes.
official story
Right.
was that it was what they called
Growler
jets.
Right.
I still haven't looked this up to this day
I don't
because
know.
it was so like mentally scarring.
Yeah.
We lived in one of the most expensive places on the island.
Yeah.
We
And-
rented.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
like, be honest, we were leasing, but we were there in one of the nicest neighborhoods, and yet it was this constant shaking the earth rumbling.
Yeah.
We had been in earthquakes. This was earthquaking.
Yes.
Now, these weren't jets.
No.
Jets don't shake the earth.
It was creepy.
But that's what everybody said. It was even in the news.
Yeah.
Growler jets
Don't worry
again.
about it. It's
don't
just the
worry.
growler
It's just the
jets.
growler jets.
So I'd be interested to know
Jets
if
don't
it's
shake the
still
earth.
No.
I mean, if they blew up a...
They were there was a American Air Force base, but it was a long ways away.
It was a long ways away.
Yeah.
Like hundreds and hundreds of kilometers. It was across the ocean.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also the thing
The
to think about with earthquakes is that for some reason, at least in our experience, you're also close to the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And so you need to know how high your house is from ocean level.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, our one house, I knew that we were at 4.1 meters. So I knew that any earthquake that we could feel, depending on how far out it was in the ocean, that was like within the danger zone. Was 4 meters?
4.1 meters. Was that earthquake number 2?
Yeah. 3. Earthquake
Okay.
3, we were at 4.1 meters.
Right, okay.
We
Yep.
were even given a map when we moved in
Yeah,
to show
no,
us where we lived.
I was thinking about the topography,
for the-
but
yeah.
yeah, you're right.
And so then you need to know, A, you're not storing any of your freeze-dried food or
No.
bug-out bags in your basement.
No.
And B, you're not going to know that tsunami is coming until it's too late. So
Yeah.
you need to know, okay, how bad did that feel? What's happening to the ocean? Does the ocean look unusually low? That means that the tsunami is coming. And then you better have already planned your like route away from your house that doesn't go directly beside the ocean, because that's the problem when you're living near water.
Yeah.
A lot of those roads are really beautiful and they just go right along the coastline.
They do. They're
You
gorgeous.
need to know your route up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you haven't thought about that, that's not the time to be making those choices.
And you know all the movies where they show the birds freaking out, and it's like everybody stops to look
Yeah.
at the birds.
Don't look at the bird.
No. In real life earthquakes, every one of ours, and this is a bit retrospective, the birds have gone.
Yeah,
You don't notice them leaving. It's quiet.
they're gone well in advance.
Well in advance.
Maybe your
You're not-
dog's freaking out, but the
Maybe.
wild animals have
Yeah.
been gone for long enough
Yeah.
that you might start to like notice the quiet.
Yeah.
By the
And
time it
that's
happens.
generally because as a
know.
as a species,
We're disconnected.
we're disconnected. Yeah, couldn't think of a better word. So moving on from earthquakes,
Okay.
we've talked about earthquakes, which of course bring tsunamis,
Okay.
which we've never experienced a tsunami.
Not to the
That's-
point where it like got to our house. Or
I mean,
anything. Yeah.
not yet.
No. Ice storms or like big snowstorms.
Big snowstorms.
That's a big one. If you haven't lived through it, or if you've like moved somewhere where
Yeah.
you're dealing with a different kind of winter,
Yeah.
a different type of snow.
We've seen some really crazy stuff on the Great Lakes, right? Where those ice storms, like sideways icicles.
It's heavy. It's heavy snow.
Yeah.
And you've got that humidity that just like, if you get wet, you're never getting warm again.
No.
And it
Yeah.
takes down the power
Oh,
for
the way that
weeks.
soaks into your body,
Yeah.
it's nuts.
And so if you don't currently live off grid,
Yeah.
at least have like a good generator and the ability to make some kind of power.
Oh, from experience, if you're going to get a generator, get a propane generator,
Yeah.
because gasoline evaporates, it goes bad,
Yeah.
it's not sealed. Propane is sealed. Propane is, I don't even know what the lifespan of propane is. Maybe
As long
somebody
as
can
you buy
comment.
it in the winter, it's great.
Yeah, don't get that cheap
Buy
summer
your
propane.
propane from a propane
Propane accessories.
Buy it in the winter.
Yeah.
Because then it's not diluted with other things that are not propane.
Yeah,
that
cheap
freeze.
bad stuff. But you want to have a good generator and, to the best of your ability, have as much propane as you can get your hands
Yeah.
on. It'll last for years.
Yeah, just store a dozen cans.
Yeah.
Rotate through. Easy
Or
peasy.
get one of those big bullets.
Yeah.
Literally bite the bullet.
Our propane places here, they don't give you a discount for getting
No.
that much. So
No,
we
it
just
doesn't
get
matter.
a whole bunch
We
of
do.
little propane.
We were
like
gonna
barbecue ones.
Yeah, we were gonna get a big tank. We were gonna get one of those
Yeah.
50-pound or the big ones that you can still carry with two people. And then we were gonna look into the bullet. It was still the same price per liter.
Yeah.
Like, why would I bother?
Yeah.
However, I would bother because of the massive amount of storage.
It depends. If you have a house that's accessible by a propane truck,
Yes, that
Ours
was
is
that
not.
was the other one. No,
Then
the truck can't get up
the
there.
delivery would be.
Yeah. So yeah, just get a bunch of those 20-pound propane tanks.
And a tri-fuel or a dual fuel.
Yeah.
Then you have options.
You do.
You
Yeah.
could do biogas. You could.
Which is extremely complicated.
It is
But-
very complicated, especially with storage, but it's an option.
It is an option. Yeah.
You could make your own moonshine and run that through the gas part, right? Like
Theoretically, yeah.
options.
I feel like we're far ahead of the curve in a lot of things, but stuff
We're
like
not
that.
to the tinkering point.
Oof,
And frankly,
it's a whole other world, folks.
when your solar is big enough and you have enough batteries, you kind of stop thinking about
You
those
do
little
for a
hobby
while.
sort of things.
And you burn wood.
yeah,
Burn wood for heat, and that's it.
yeah, that's not always. Yeah.
So back to ice storms and snowstorms. You want to make sure that you've got. You want to seal your building up.
yeah, alternate heat sources.
Alternate heat sources.
If you've got rooms that you don't need to heat, seal those up right away,
Yeah.
and like have a way to do that. Blankets, duct tape, whatever.
Because we've been through ice storms. Actually, we've been through so many ice storms that I've lost count, and I don't really think about
No.
it anymore. This past winter, we had a new part of our house that we built, and there was a 1 or 3/4 inch crack like between the side of the wall and the unfinished, like the steel roofing and then the strapping.
Right.
So you've got this 3/4 inch gap, and 2 storms this winter came in so hard through that little gap. It filled our foyer with snow. Like we were shoveling it out.
Yeah.
So,
this isn't an indoor foyer. This is
no,
like
this is an outdoor storing wood thing.
Yeah, it's like the woodshed, but still, it's amazing how the snow can come in at like horizontal.
It can, and this is what
sticks.
Yeah, and this is what ice storms do, and then
and then they take down trees because they're so heavy.
Yeah,
and it makes the tree heavy on one side, and those evergreens, they have like no roots. They just like meow.
Yeah, I guess this is actually a really good time to point out that if you live off the grid, you need to find your favorite chainsaw. You do.
And get 2 of them.
Get 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So we
extra chains, extra bars.
Yep.
We use vegetable oil for oil because you can use it for a bunch of stuff.
You can get it anywhere.
Yeah.
You can use any oil, motor oil, whatever. What we did, because we're inclined to be off the grid, and frankly, it was because of the noise. We stay away from gas-powered chainsaws.
Yeah.
Now, gas-powered chainsaws are amazing. They put out a ton of power. They'll cut really well.
Yeah, you're not going to go to a lumberjack contest and see somebody using a battery chainsaw.
However, chainsaws are equipped with brakes, like chain brakes. Like they have a whole bunch of technology on them that is made for safety. But when you have a battery-powered chainsaw, like we have an Ego 56-volt chainsaw, you don't need the safety brake because the electronically they're protected, so that if they overload, they sense a chain jam and they just quit.
Okay, so they're safer.
They're much safer.
Yeah, we give them to like our young teens.
We do.
Totally fine with them.
Also, they have just as much power as a gas saw. So it's like there's a disconnect there. But anyway, if you want to live off the grid, you need to know your chainsaws.
We need to take a quick break to thank our second sponsor, in which case we're just going to rattle through a few as quickly as we can. Yep. It's Contest. EMP Shield. $50 off any unit if you use the code OGPF. EMP Shield will protect any device that it's connected to. They have models for your vehicle, generators, solar energy, and more.
This year we've lost a car starter, a car alternator, and a home inverter. And we did not have it
and
hooked
a pressure
up
tank
yet.
And a pump.
No, not the pressure tank, just the pressure switch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I forgot about the pressure switch.
Electricity is weird.
So now we have EMP Shield, but we didn't.
Thrive Life freeze-dried foods. You can get 15% off your first order if you use our link on our friends and affiliates page.
It is. It's really high quality stuff.
Major Mom's Ground Control.
Visit tinyfootventures.com to find out more, or you can check out Major Mom's Ground Control in our store. It's an organic, completely natural weed killer and bug deterrent, and it works incredibly well.
Yeah, and if you use the coupon code OGPF, you get $15 off your first order of that, and it's free shipping in Canada and US. I guess Tiny Foot Ventures is the last one.
It is. Tiny Foot Ventures is a grassroots company. The goal is to create as many clean, innovative technologies that work off of old world ideas, but combine new technology. It leaves a tiny
old
carbon
knowledge.
footprint. Old knowledge.
Skills.
There's a lot of good stuff out there. Bringing it back.
So, after ice storms and big snowstorms, do you have any other tips for ice storms and big snowstorms? I would say this is where that fourth layer of your food storage comes in that I really don't like, and I don't like to talk about, but it's the easy food. I don't like having it. I don't like seeing it on my shelf.
Like what?
Campbell's soup and Itchy Band,
yeah, we did have Itchy Band the other day. We were super busy.
Dinner.
Yep, it's bad stuff.
But for things like that, if you do not live off grid,
what's that audio track? You're gonna hate it, but you're gonna suffer.
But you're gonna be happy.
So with cheap food storage, you're gonna poop a lot, but you're gonna be fed.
If you need
it's
to
very
just open
inefficient.
a can of something and heat it up on your little funny camping grill, you'll be happy to have that easy food. And the rest of the time, you put it in a bin, you put it on a shelf, and you forget it exists.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive,
but
it's not good for you,
no.
But you need to have it.
But it stores.
Yeah. after ice storms and big storms,
Yes.
tornadoes, obviously.
We've talked about, we grew up with tornadoes.
It's kind of
They're majestic,
not a big
but
deal to us
just-
now. The worst is when you hit one and you're in your vehicle.
I think what's
That's the most
interesting.
stressful to me. Either
Yeah.
when you're in your vehicle or when you're not with your kids.
Yes.
Those are the worst tornadoes
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, being in your vehicle is
So
super
having
scary.
kids who know the plan,
Mhm.
having planned yourself. Apparently, you're no longer supposed to hide under overpasses. You're just supposed to lay in the ditch. I didn't know that until recently.
They probably realized that they horribly underbuilt overpasses.
Well, and overpasses create like this little wind tunnel. So you just get,
you get sucked
and
out?
there's nothing to hold on to. So they create like some kind of like a jet engine full of people.
God damn,
People
dude.
jet engine.
That's crazy.
Anyways, tornadoes.
Tornadoes
get some
are like,
stairs, get a basement.
yeah, and
I
tornadoes.
don't like basements, but that's
No,
fine.
but you do need a basement for tornadoes. Tornadoes are like earthquakes, though, because they wreak a whole lot of havoc very suddenly, but then they're gone.
And then people
whereas-
wander out of the house and they're like, what?
Yeah, whereas floods and ice storms, they're like
It's
suddenly
like a long
everything's soaked
disaster.
and rotten, and
Yeah.
ice storms, or everything's covered in snow or ice, and
Yeah.
it's a long recovery process.
Tornadoes are more like make sure you've got a go bag in your car and something in your basement.
I think we need to talk finally about hurricanes.
Yeah.
This
we
is
like
new to
hurricanes.
us.
Well,
no. Okay.
It's not new to us.
Let's talk
we had
about
a
our
couple
first hurricane.
Okay, our first hurricane experience was you were in Germany for work,
On a forced business trip.
and he was on his way home, and there was this huge hurricane while he was in the air.
It was a winter hurricane. It was
Wasn't though. It was in October.
in October. The snow was
By the time you got home, it was Halloween. That's
Right.
how long it took you to get
but
home.
the snow was so thick.
It was so thick and so heavy, and I was home alone waiting for you to get home after this very long business trip that you
Yeah.
didn't really want to go on in the first place.
weeks.
And they kept rerouting you to like weird like
Oh yeah, all the weather was
air
crazy.
bases and stuff.
Everything, yeah, it was bonkers.
And you couldn't get back to
We
our
landed
country.
in military bases in
Yeah.
the States. Like, it was nuts.
And they'd like de-iced the plane, and there was no food, there was no services.
No, we didn't sleep for days.
You're stuck on a plane. Nobody wants to use the bathroom.
And this was back when there were relatively very little security checks.
Yeah,
Like, this was 2010.
right.
So there-
it wasn't
yeah,
as bad, and
they
like,
were-
people were kind of nice. Like this is a post-COVID.
Oh no, this is a whole different world.
People, the air hostesses are still. Sorry,
security-
You're not allowed to call them that anymore.
I don't care. The security guards, even they understood
Yeah,
your plight,
they're
and
like,
they were like,
"Okay,
"Man, this sucks."
I'll find you a bottle of water.
Yeah, like everything was fairly amicable.
And so at some point, you did manage to get in contact with us,
I can't remember how, but I did.
and we realized that the air travel company that I will not name was not going to get you home. Like, it was probably going to be a week, and they were going to bounce you around to different airports when they had time.
It was going to be at least a week.
Yeah.
An additional
And then
week.
you were going to end up in Newfoundland or something. Like, that
Yeah,
was so
something
much
like that.
worse.
Yeah.
So much worse.
Yeah.
Newfoundland's an island, if you're not aware. He was going to end up on the island of Newfoundland. And how was he going to get home from there? So instead,
Across a super choppy strait.
you bailed, and I and the kids came
Yep.
down to get you in a very well-equipped SUV.
Yeah, it was, yes.
And we were very confident because it was a well-equipped, well-maintained SUV.
Yep. Good tires.
We
good four-wheel
actually
drive.
like blew through gates that were being closed
Yep.
in Maine to get you. Like state patrol guys were closing the gates, and I was like, "No, I'm going through." And I just like went through, and there was cars going off in the ditch, all both sides the whole way. And I was like, "No, we're fine." I grabbed our bag, had
was.
some snacks, everything was fine.
So it's a good lesson to always have really good,
Capable, vehicles.
capable vehicles.
Know how to drive them. Know how to drive in weather conditions.
And this is actually a really good digression. We have two very capable SUVs now. They're
Yeah,
both,
they're not fancy like that one was, but they're
no,
great.
but they're
They'll do
they're
whatever you
n-
need them to do.
So, but between the two
Refill.
SUVs, refill, between the two SUVs, okay, we have a Toyota, and it has what you'd call all-wheel drive. Like, there's no,
Right.
it just drives.
always on,
There's
yeah.
no selecting buttons. There's nothing. You
it's-
can't change the suspension.
It's a long
anything.
car.
And it is newer, quite a bit newer, like almost 10 years newer. But the older SUV, it's a Nissan, and it has quite possibly, I would say, other than the SUV you just talked about that we used to have.
You're allowed to say it. It's not an ad.
Oh, okay. We had a Land Rover. It was amazing.
It was our third Land Rover, and it was the best.
It was the best.
It was the best, and also kind of the worst. I like the old ones better.
The old ones were incredible.
Okay.
But that's what the Nissan's like.
Yes.
It's like kind of hardcore.
You can do anything with it.
You can tow a super heavy trailer with this thing.
It doesn't have a bunch of electronics that go wrong.
No, but it does have enough electronics that they're intuitive. What I'm getting at is you want to have a really capable car, and it's not always the car that's branded.
Yeah.
They came out with that, what was that, the Ford
The Bronco.
The Bronco?
The Bronco. It looks like it should
It
be
looks
capable.
really cool, but then right away there's all these reviews where it has like Kia build quality and it's just garbage, and I've never driven one.
We've been in one.
Right. Yeah.
The kids have been in one. Yeah.
Anyway, you really have to pay attention to your cars. Like, look at
Keep them gassed up.
Look at the size of the shafts that go to the wheels.
Put your snow tires on well before you think you're going to need them.
Yeah.
We like studded tires. I don't know if they're legal. I don't really care.
Find some mud. Drive the thing.
Yeah.
Right? See how it performs.
Sometimes there's a weird setting that you're like, oh, I need to take that off whenever I get into trouble. And you're not going to want to find that out when you're stuck in a ditch somewhere.
Exactly. Our old Pathfinder performs spectacularly better than we had a Expedition. And the Pathfinder wildly outperformed it in four-wheel drive conditions. And it was 12 years older?
Yeah.
Like, you just don't know these things. And the reviews online don't match up. So when you're in a natural disaster, you want to have a capable vehicle.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people understand that, like a Toyota Land Cruiser or a Land Rover Defender, like there are some iconic off-road vehicles. But just like my old Pathfinder, there's a lot of hidden stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of really cheap stuff.
And once it's a little bit used.
Yeah, I think I paid $2,500 for that thing. Like recently, I put some tires on it and an alternator.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing car. So that's what you want to have when you're preparing for these things.
The last thing. I guess we're down to floods. Oh, we were going to talk about hurricanes. Okay, if you find yourself landing in a hurricane, which we've done also, that sucks.
It does suck.
It's
weird when you're in aisle or row 32 and
you're looking out the front of the plane.
And suddenly you realize you're nearly at the front of the plane's trajectory.
Yeah, you're
like if we've seen these planes land in windstorms, these things are like 45 degrees until the very last minute. Frankly, it's amazing.
It's
the
amazing
combination.
Their wheels don't snap off.
It is, but the engineering and the skill.
So we were
still terrifying.
Back to Canada, moving back from Central America.
Yeah.
With all our kids. And we happened to come back during a hurricane, the one that took out
another hurricane.
New York.
Just to be clear,
hurricane.
This isn't the same hurricane going on for years and years.
But every time we get on a plane, watch out. Something's coming. And maybe not every time, but yeah.
Yeah.
We're good or bad people to know, depending. And
exciting.
The plane kept circling and circling, but the storm was getting so bad that it was like, okay, I guess we're just gonna land and take our chances. And they like give you that like prep for landing of like, put your head between your knees, and you're like pressing 4 kids' heads. Like, what? No, we're all gonna die. It's not gonna happen.
You prepare mentally the best you can.
Anyways, I don't have anything good to offer from that other than
we landed. It's crazy. Hurricanes are nuts.
Make your peace.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you just make your peace and hope for that.
But when you're on land and in a home, you can prepare, and it's no different than any other disaster.
Yeah. So here, when we get hurricanes, we, depending on the severity and how it's looking, sometimes we'll take our solar panels down.
We do, yeah.
Yeah. We'll definitely disconnect them.
Yeah. We disconnect our solar panels if there's even a slight threat of
Yeah,
lightning.
well, that's just like, it's throwing a switch. Like,
Yep.
it's not a hard thing.
Just the breaker.
But yeah, if it looks really bad, we'll take the solar panels down. Of course, we'll bring in everything from outside. We don't leave like any patio chairs or lumber or weird stuff laying around outside because those can go through your window.
They can, yeah.
What else do we do? Lock in all the animals.
We do. Sometimes when hurricane season's late and it brings snow,
Right.
yeah, as I said earlier, we try and plug up all the gaps and make
Yeah.
sure the wood's inside. Because in the falls, a lot of your wood is still outside.
Yeah, so we make sure we've
Yeah.
got like a week's worth
Yep.
inside and dry.
Mm-hmm.
And, do a little quick check over your inventory list, which you'll find in a year of food.
That's right. And
Shameless plug.
final garden cleanups. Hurricane season is like a natural end to garden season.
We pull a lot of stuff out. Like, we try and bring in all our like basils and herbs and
Yep.
tomatoes and the best pepper plants, and we'll pot them up and bring them inside. Our house has like this garden bed thing, kind of like, I don't know, kind of like an earth ship. If you've ever seen an earth ship, it has this big garden bed.
Yes.
But we shove stuff in there. But
Yep.
potted plants is good. Bring
We did-
everything into the kitchen.
We did tomatoes that one year. Right in the late fall,
Last
we
year
realized
we
everything was
brought
going to
in-
get frosted or
Yeah.
blown away. And
And then it gives them time to ripen, so you don't have like cardboard boxes full of green tomatoes that aren't going to ripen.
they're never going
You're
to
not-
ripen.
who are you
It's never
kidding?
going to happen.
If they haven't started to blush, it ain't happening. So that's what we do for hurricanes.
Yeah.
But that's because we're already prepared. So I guess if you're not, food,
Yeah.
water,
Hurricanes,
alternate.
tornadoes, floods, earthquakes, all of these things, it's best to be prepared no matter what.
And
ahead
it's
of time.
easier.
Yeah.
Just
If you're-
pick one and you're probably good for most.
If you're up high in an apartment, you're screwed. I'm sorry. It's just, you are.
Well, for a flood, you're probably okay.
But I can say that with confidence and not, I don't know. I can say that positively in the way that we have been through some of the things that I couldn't imagine surviving, but we
Yeah.
survived. And even if you are in an apartment right now and you're listening, you can too. You
Yeah.
just, hold on to that.
Yeah.
You'll get a house in the woods. It's not a big deal. Just fight for it.
Floods. Our last one is floods.
Ooh,
We have a lot of experience with floods, but
quite possibly our most
our
poignant
most
experience.
recent experience was the most crazy.
It was.
If you haven't listened to our emergency backpacks episode, you should go back and listen to that because we go to it in detail. It was actually the first time we'd ever actually talked about it, really, because
It was an extreme
we
decompress
just
for
didn't
us.
really want to talk about it
For
ever.
like 10 years.
Our lessons
Maybe not
learned
quite.
from the flood.
Yes.
How much warning and information do you get when you're having some sort of event?
None.
None.
Zero. In
None
fact,
information.
there may be some disinformation.
There may be.
There may be some extra, wow, what a beautiful day crap from the media.
Yeah.
They're most likely, like, moving forward, they're going to take those extra steps to make sure that you're super happy
Yeah.
before
So,
they unleash the
Our
floodgates.
town had evacuated the hospital
Mm-hmm.
that was right next to the elementary school.
Yep, which they didn't evacuate.
And all those little kids ended up on buses with teachers and bus drivers
Yep.
and not their parents.
Yep.
So that's disgusting.
It is disgusting. Thank you.
How about FEMA, Red Cross, the local government, law enforcement,
Gross.
military? Are
Gnarly.
they there to help you?
Well, I was just going to say about the hospital thing.
Yeah.
These people should be dead.
Well, not every. Like, what if you're
Not
like, in
everybody.
labor and you're in the hospital?
Yeah, but you're not a kid budding in a school.
Yeah.
You've lived your life.
They could have at least told people.
They could have told people.
Instead of just taking out the cell phones and letting everyone figure it out and letting people die. The FEMA, the Red Cross, your local government, the law enforcement, the military, they're not there to help you.
They are all just cleanup crews. That's it. They're mop-up crews.
Literally, the military locked down that town
Mm-hmm.
so that people couldn't get in, but they didn't go rescue anyone
No.
who was dying in their
They
home.
did not. No, the helicopter I escaped on was a private helicopter. It was some
All-
rancher's helicopter.
All the rescues were private. As
They were
far
all
as
private.
No.
Yeah. I didn't see a single green
No.
with a Canadian flag helicopter swirl
No.
around.
But when I was evacuating the town, there were tanks.
Oh, coming in.
They were locking the
Locking the
inroads
gates.
down.
Oh, locking the gates, yeah.
If you go to the Red Cross tent and you sign in with your name, you're not leaving. So that's
Right.
something to know.
Really?
Yeah, you took the sandwich from the Hutterites and you left. But if you would have stayed, you would have had to have like
Right,
where
but they
are
weren't
you
the
going?
Red Cross. They were
No,
the.
that was just like
they were
the
just.
initial emergency.
They were Hutterites being nice, or
But
like Amish or
Once
Mennonites.
the tent's up, you and your family are stuck on those army cots until you can prove that you have a place to go.
That's super messed up.
It is.
They have to like.
You're a prisoner.
That
at that
no,
point.
but that takes resources. It's like when you erect a prison.
It all takes resources.
But like.
Yeah, but they don't want you going and looting the town, I guess. I don't know what the reasoning is, but it's not good. So don't get yourself.
It's not good.
Don't get yourself in the Red Cross tent. Have your stuff with you.
Yeah.
Have 3 or 4 different plans where you're gonna go and just go.
Really, pay attention.
Yeah.
Use your intuition. If
it
your
seems
brain
funny,
says run, bitch.
Yeah.
Like run. Be cool about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just be cool. Be cool. Don't run. I don't know what movie that's from, but seriously, that's what it's like. Just run as fast as you can, but like slowly.
Yes. What great advice.
It is. It is.
Gold
You gotta be
advice.
cool, but you also have to be a goddamn tiger. Like just like.
Also, as far as like Red Cross, FEMA, government, don't be waiting, or even your insurance company. Nobody is probably going to come and give you that payout or the help you need to put your life back together. And I'm seeing a lot of this on like those, Kentucky people on
the
Facebook
Kentucky floods.
who've had the floods. It's like, I can't believe no one's coming yet to help us rebuild our driveway, and where are all the people who are going to give us bedding for our kids? I'm sorry to tell you this, but they're not coming.
Yeah, get your house in order.
It's not up to anyone else but you.
Yeah.
And if you get some donations and somebody feels nice about it,
That's a
fine.
That's a bonus. That's
but
great.
I wouldn't be expecting it because, frankly, that's not what we've signed up for in life.
It's not.
We take care of
Well,
ourselves.
no. To be fair, still, we have signed up for Everybody Helps. We all have,
But
and
that's
this
not
is where.
what happens.
But that's where it all falls apart.
And insurance will find a way to not pay out.
Yep.
Or not pay out full.
Yep.
It's an act of God. You've got a mortgage to pay on a house that needs demoed. This stuff happens.
Yep.
It happens to everybody once.
Yep. And economically, the most messed up thing is that the way the system works, and this is something we experienced in Ontario, is when the system works the way it wants to, there are literally neighborhoods of brick houses with nobody living in them.
Just empty.
Empty,
Well, you see that in
with
Vancouver
maintenance contracts, and families struggling to survive.
Yeah,
and
people are
houses
homeless and houses are empty.
and houses are empty.
And that's the same thing. You get flooded, your house is now worthless, everything you own,
Yep.
everything you've worked for is gone. Your insurance probably isn't going to pay out, or it's
Yep.
not going to pay out as much as you need, and people aren't coming to help you. And the more you post on Facebook about how much you need socks, you're just behind.
Yep. But what we're here to say, what we have experienced, is if you literally stay positive.
Yeah.
I know it sounds
Just do the
corny.
next thing.
Just keep on going.
Yeah.
Work hard. Keep your eyes open. That's what we did.
Yeah.
These opportunities present themselves.
Yeah.
Life changes. Life loves to change. Even in the face of the aggressors.
Yeah. Having a family emergency plan, that's something that we've learned.
Yep.
And being more specific than you think you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because chances are you're going to go to plan D before your husband gets home from work, and he's not going to know where you are.
Oh, yeah. Fast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stuff changes.
Mhm.
The first thing that goes out is communications. You need to have multiple ways of communicating, whether that's CB radios, texts
We
that
talked
do
about ham
sometimes
radios.
go through. We
Yep.
talked about ham radios. There's an episode on that just a few, maybe
Not,
even
not
1
that
week
long ago. Yeah.
Also, you can communicate on email, even if you don't have reliable email or Wi-Fi. You can create a draft in a family email account.
Mm-hmm.
Don't send it. The next person can see it. They can edit it. Make sure everyone has access to one family email account, and that's
Yeah.
a really good way to communicate if stuff goes sideways. We like proton mail. But that's just us because we're a little bit paranoid.
We've been through some stuff.
Having bags for every person in every vehicle.
What was that?
Is so important.
What was that? The only natural disaster we haven't been through is a tsunami, right?
Well, yes.
Quantifiable natural disaster.
It never got to our house, so we win. Or we're due. I'm not really sure.
We're high up enough.
Okay. Oh,
right?
We didn't even talk about forest fires.
All right, fires.
The forest fires.
All the fires. The red sky.
We were stuck on this island. It was an off-grid island, and there were forest fires. And at one point, you were at work on the mainland.
On the mainland.
And I had all the kids, and I was like, okay, this is my route on foot.
Our only car was my bike. Remember?
Right, there was no vehicles on this
Because
island.
we had gone kind of native and been
Well,
like, you know what?
What are you going to do? Barge your car over?
Yeah, it was a thing.
It was a thing.
And the island barely had roads.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like footpaths.
I was going to footpath with the kids down to the nearest beach and take them into the ocean and hope for the best when the fire got too close. Because it was like twilight and red for weeks straight. You could hardly breathe.
You could hardly breathe. You could hardly see. This is on the West Coast.
Horrific.
Yeah.
And of course, we're living off grid, so there's no sun.
No.
And so everyone's running their generators. You can hear the generators in distance.
Generators, fire risk. It was gross. It was gross. Forest fires. Yeah, that was not our first forest fire.
They're bad.
I remember out west where we grew up, there was the forest fire that cleaned out the southern half of the province, and it looked like a post-apocalyptic volcanic moonscape for like a couple of years.
Yeah, so we now live in our bug out location.
Yeah.
But you still need a go bag.
Oh yeah.
You never know. There are some things you cannot bug in for.
No. Yeah.
There are some reasons that you still have to leave, and you don't want to be trying to figure out what to take.
Yeah, I forgot about forest fires.
Experience.
Did I repress that? I feel like I repressed that.
I think we repressed it. From personal experience, if you leave it to the last minute and you're in a stressful situation, I have seen the stories. I've seen the people in the aftermath, especially of that flood. People took the dumbest stuff with them.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Just like snowboards. They left stuff that would have been helpful and stuff that they were really attached to, and they took, like, school books, and I don't even know what they were thinking.
Yeah.
For me personally, I took my laptop, but I didn't take the charger, and the charger got fried.
Right. We did get a new charger later.
Lesson learned. It was hard to get the right one.
It was difficult.
Okay. Having bags for every person in every vehicle. That's crucial.
It is.
Go listen to our emergency backpacks page podcast. What does that X mean on the front of your house? I think that's just sort of interesting trivia.
What does it mean? When
like FEMA or local law enforcement comes around, they paint an X on your house. If there's a square around the X, it means you should not go in there. It's structurally unstable.
Oh, okay.
So if it's like an X with a square around it,
that's weird because if you physically draw an X,
that looks like the most stable thing
and
ever.
then you draw a square around it, it's like you fixed that X.
Yeah, it looks like a really sturdy.
So that's an allegory or a comparison about how stupid government is.
So you've got the X. The top number, like the one in the top portion of your X, that's the day they searched your house. The right-hand side, that's if they found anything. Like personal hazards, like rats or stagnant water or whatever. Yep. The left-hand side is who did the search. And it's usually like a NYPD or FEMA might put it, or whatever your local thing is. And the bottom part is a number for how many people they found and a hyphen and a number for how many bodies they found. And if they didn't find anybody, usually they just put a 0 with a little slash through it. Okay. So that's how you know your house has been searched, and now you get to figure out how to get rid of dayglow orange paint off of the front door that they probably kicked in.
Yeah, they're not going to do that for you.
No, that's also not a thing.
Even though when you pay your taxes, you pay their salary.
If you want to, you can take that laminated sheet of paper out of your bug-out bag, duct tape it to your front door with the duct tape that's in your bug-out bag, if you followed our list. and use the Sharpie from your bug out bag and say, no firearms in home, everyone has evacuated, and then even write a little note to your spouse as to where you've gone. And if you're very, very lucky, they won't search your house, but they probably still will because they still want to make sure that you don't have any firearms to take.
Yeah.
That's just my personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
Other things we've learned. Oh, okay. Insurance and government programs to rebuild. It's not going to be enough. I'm sorry. Don't wait around. Don't hold your breath.
No, actually, our own personal experience with that was extremely positive.
We got a half payout.
The Flash government experience, but that was based on what we owned.
Yeah.
We didn't own much.
So we got a half payout. On the contents?
On the contents.
The house was still an act of God, and it still needed to be demolished.
Oh, yeah.
So that's better than nothing?
It was terrible. Yeah.
Okay. What are people like in times of stress? As far as natural disasters are, in my experience, you just become more of what you are. You
do. That's right.
Yeah.
We talked in the other episode, we talked about the guy that donated his car to me.
Yeah.
Like, temporarily.
Farmers driving around in their big heavy combines because they were the only people
and ranchers who picked me up off the roof, like with their helicopters. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of these people are very wealthy.
And even the people that you like pull out of the water or whatever, sometimes they're like a little discombobulated and this is like the weirdest thing that's happened to them. But for the most part, people aren't immediately opportunistic and weird.
No, that always comes later. Yeah. I've never experienced... this is just personal for us, but we've never experienced people who are like...
But we also don't live in urban areas anymore.
No, that's true. And we've never lived in a major urban center.
No.
Like, in our entire lives.
So I can't say what would happen as soon as it's become apparent that the police don't have time to answer phone calls.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what would happen somewhere urban.
Yeah.
But I think people just become more of what they normally are, which in that case is probably just opportunistic and looking for an easy place to smash and grab.
It's like it's angels and demons, right? Yeah. It's like some people are good and some people aren't.
Yeah. Well, I'd say everybody's probably not so good, but some people have more control over it, we'll say. I guess that's all I have as far as what we've learned. What else have you learned? What advice would you give to someone who is literally right now, they don't know it, and some disaster is about to befall them, like a natural disaster?
Pay attention.
Listen to your gut.
Eyes up. If you played sports, you know what I'm talking about.
Don't wait.
Or music, right?
Yeah,
if you're in an
keep
orchestra,
your eyes on the horizon.
Just focus.
If something feels funny, it's better to bug out early and be wrong.
It is.
Then what? You had a day off in the forest.
I
guess that's all the advice we have. If you're going through something specific, you can always message us on Instagram. Don't message us on Facebook because we're not over there.
No.
We have
a page. People are weird.
We have a page, but Facebook has a weird vibe. It's so depressing. If you thought this podcast was helpful, could you please share it with a friend? That really helps us out. Or give us a 5-star review.
Yeah.
Do you have a quote for me today?
He is like a man which built a house and dig deep, and laid the foundation on a rock. And when the flood arose, the stream beat vehemently upon that house, and could not shake it, for it was founded upon a rock.
Luke 6:48.
Yeah.
King James. We're a King James family. Have your plan. It's your foundation.
It is.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you next time.
Bye.